So I'm so excited to introduce our guest today, Chris Browning. This is such a fun treat for me. So I met you, Chris, on the set with my daughter. I was actually doing the stage mom thing.
I
was. And Chris doesn't need a whole lot of introduction, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah, you do.
You've seen Chris. You're probably sitting there, if you're watching this, thinking, I know that guy. Where do I know this guy from? He was in Angel Has Fallen. And then you recently did Outlaw Johnny Black. That's not out yet, right?
Yeah.
Greenlight, Healer, Book of Eli. That was a great movie. Bright with Will Smith. The 100, Sons of Anarchy, Westworld, Bosch. And I can't even, the list is way too long. But those are just some of the more recent, larger things you've done, correct?
Yeah.
So you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've done a lot. I've been lucky.
You've had a very big career in Hollywood. And yeah. So the thing that I noticed when I met you is that you were so humble and so nice. And then you start telling me your story and I was floored. So you're very open about your story, which is, I'm so grateful that you wanted to come here and share it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell my story to anybody that'll listen,
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Because what I heard was, this is the only thing I heard was I went from being pretty successful, living in Malibu in a beach house to living under the 405 freeway. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's my opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always my old joke is then I tried heroin once for 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our listeners know my story. I have a lot of childhood trauma from heroin. Not me, but my family. An uncle who was murdered in a drug deal and just a lot of stuff, a lot of baggage with it. So, your story was so interesting to me, sort of the other side of it, and just interesting how you came back. I love the comeback. So talk to me about it. Yeah, tell our listeners.
Well, I said I had been working. I was always a drunk though. I was a
interesting,
highly functioning alcoholic. I was that guy that you had to tell me what I did last night.
Oh,
But
when did that start?
When I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was the guy. I was the guy that got drunker than anybody else and stuff. But I still, I did well in school. I played sports and played college football but yeah, in college, I guess the wheels kind of started to come off there, but I ended up going to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts after college because I decided I wanted to write screenplays. So I was working in a warehouse with this guy who said, I had a friend, we were up in Reno, just bumming around, partying and working in a warehouse. And I told him and he said, yeah, I had a buddy that got in that business and he went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. So I said, cool, I'm doing that. And so I got into the American Academy, quit my job, moved down to LA and I remember talking to the director of the school and saying, well, I want to focus primarily on screenwriting. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's a theater school. Here's your schedule. Focus on this. And I thought I'd major and minor and thing. No, everybody has the same schedule. This is it. Welcome aboard. And it was all actor stuff. And I was terrified, I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, I was very, very shy. Because I was always the new guy. I went to 12 schools when I was growing up.
Oh, interesting. So you moved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned that you have a history of substance abuse in your family.
Yeah, my mom's an alcoholic. She died with 40 years sober. She went to her first meeting in 1974 or something, and just put 40 years together. Just got it on
awesome.
First try.
But genetically, you already had that. You were sort of predisposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also had some marks growing up, from what I understand, just from the environment. Yeah.
I mean, I think, divorce, and I remember my, kind of raising my little sister, when I was, 5 years old. I can remember, making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for my kid sister because mom was always in bed. She was a stay in bed mom. And I mean, it wasn't like she was abusive or anything. She just was checked out. And Yeah. So I kind of remember taking care of my little sister from a pretty young age. And, but she got sober when I was 9, I think. But by then, I was already
Right.
screwed up. But I don't know. I think, I was always I could schedule my alcoholism. I was functioning.
So that's what you meant by functional.
Yeah.
Is that you could decide not to drink when you needed to not drink.
Yeah.
And then just party hard when you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just worked. I mean, I didn't have hangovers in those days. I'd go out and drinking and partying all night long and then have a football game the next day and I'd be, fine.
Wow.
Yeah. But then, and so I went to the academy. I was terrified the whole first year because I was there with all these kids who were actors. They'd been doing it since they were little. So they had this whole actor persona thing that I didn't know what that was. I'd never seen these people before. I was a jock. I came from football and these people were all like wearing black and smoking and
Wow.
talking about John Malkovich and stuff. I didn't even know who that
So they're
was.
very artsy.
Yeah, I don't know who John Malkovich was, and they'd say, tomorrow we're gonna want everybody off book. We're gonna start blocking, and I'm like, what's off book? What's blocking? I don't have any idea.
So they had been doing this a long time.
Yeah, they all knew it. They knew the lingo. They'd been doing theater, I didn't know anything. So the first year I just made sure I knew my lines. I was really good at memorization, and that was about it. But they saw something because, they have these exam plays at the end of the first year to decide who they're going to take back because they only invite a quarter of the students back for second year. And I played John Proctor in The Crucible. And
Interesting.
And that was like the first time that I ever got that feedback, that audience. And I had people I didn't know, in the theater coming up and hugging me with tears in their eyes and things like that. And I was like, okay, I want this.
You liked it.
Yeah. And it was like it was the first time I was ever comfortable in my own skin.
Oh, interesting.
Like my scariest moment of the day in high school was taking my tray up, at the end of lunch. You have to take up your tray and put this thing in the dirty dish thing and the silverware in that thing and put the tray in, because it was across the cafeteria. We were always at this one corner table and just kind of zigzagging through all those tables. I just felt eyes on me. I was like, oh, don't fall down. Don't, I was just so self-absorbed and self-conscious that it was, I couldn't stand, that kind of insecurity is really just ego, that I thought people were so concerned and obsessed with watching me do anything, Nobody cares. But I didn't know that. I thought, oh, it's going to.
Yeah, we have something called the 18-40-60 rule. It's like when you're 18, you think everyone is watching you and thinking about you, and you're so concerned about it. When you are 40, you don't give a damn what people think about you.
Right.
When you're 60, you realize no one's been thinking about you. They've all been thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
But do you think that was part of what drew you to drinking or maybe later substance abuse?
Yeah.
Was that discomfort with yourself?
Yeah. That's how I got comfortable. But yeah, when I said like on the stage, that was the first time that I was ever comfortable in my own skin, not drunk.
Yeah.
I marveled at people who could go to a bar and go, let's see, what should I have? You know what? I think, do you have that on tap? I'll have that. And they order their first drink of the day in a bar, a crowded bar. No way could I do. I had to have a 12-pack in me just to go in there.
Oh, you're kidding.
I could, all those people and stuff. Yeah, no way. I could not go into a crowd.
So a little bit of social anxiety is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, a little bit. And but in that time on stage was the first time that I was like, wow, I was totally comfortable in my own skin and I don't have any booze in me. And that's why I want that. And I kept that. I respected that too. It was one of those things that I was like, I'm never going to do this loaded. I'm not ever going to, just because that's a sacred thing for me. And I'm just not going to ever work wasted. And that was my rule.
So you became pretty successful after school.
I did, but I broke my rule quickly because I got a lead in a mini series in Russia.
Oh,
and spent 13 months in Russia being.
They like vodka.
Oh my God! But it was. I couldn't even stand out as an alcoholic there,
right?
Because everybody was drunk. It was like you could. It wasn't even a hidden thing. There was the camera truck was like a rolling bar.
Wow!
And if you couldn't find Chris
on
Brown,
set,
yeah,
that's crazy.
You could drink as long as you could do your job. Nobody cared. So sometimes guys would get so sloppy they couldn't do their job and they'd get fired. But
wow.
But yeah, it was. If you couldn't find me, go look in the camera truck. That's where you'd find me. And
oh wow! So that was when you broke that rule.
That's when I broke that rule. But then it was that had just my sister had died, and from this disease, and I just had some survivor guilt, and I took it into a whole nother gear at that point where people would say, "Man, you keep going like that, you're going to die," and I'd say, "When?"
Oh,
bring it, because I've been trying to do it like every day and I can't seem to make it work. So, yeah.
Ouch.
So plus it was action stuff, it wasn't like we're sitting there having a deep conversation across a table like this. It wasn't a Pinter play,
right.
It was action. It was underwater stuff and
alcohol and water. No.
Well, I mean, you're swimming in the Black Sea in February.
Oh my God!
And there's snow on the bank, and I'm swimming around fighting a fake shark or something, and they would give me, get out of the water, and they put vodka on you. They pour vodka and rub it on your skin, and I'm like, that's cold. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's warming me up.
Interesting.
Some kind of physics thing. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Because when alcohol evaporates on you, it feels cool.
Right. And it brings your blood to the surface too.
Yeah. Is that what it's doing? Yeah. It worked. And so they're pouring it in me and on me. And it was, nobody was going to go, that guy seems like he's had a couple. No, he's fallen off a horse. He's, fighting with flaming torches. And, nobody could tell I had a little booze in me. And so.
So you tried drugs for the first time. Did it start with drugs or did it start with painkillers?
I guess it started with painkillers. Yeah. Because what happened, I came back, and that's really where I got, before I went to Russia, I finished at the academy, and then I was waiting tables and thrilled to get like 2 words on Saved by the Bell or something, or 5 lines on Matlock. And I was like, oh, I've made it, And so I was a waiter. That's basically what I was. And I got the Russia thing. That was a 12-hour miniseries. That was like starring in 8 movies because I was the lead. And, but then that left me with a bunch of money and a bunch of free time. And because you only work 6 months a year, And I was just, I had a back issue that put me on, Norco or one of the hydrocodones,
right?
Lortab, and that was my routine. I got 6 a day of those, so I would drink like a 12-pack of beer every night. So I was kind of a chunky monkey. And I exercised a lot. Like I knew so little about nutrition. And I'm like, God, someone that runs and does elliptical in the gym as much as me, why am I so fat? And it's like, because you drink a 12-pack of beer every day, you dumbass. So and I'm like, I really sweat when I run. Yeah, that's the alcohol pouring out of your pores.
Right.
So I didn't know much. And so I had a schedule. I could drink all night because I have rehearsal the next day. I could just pop 6 of those Lortab.
At once?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I did. I just took, instead of taking 10 milligrams, I took 60 milligrams. And that took any hangover away. that I was
Dear
gonna
Lord,
have.
yeah.
And then I'd go to work. And then by the end of the day, I'm ready to start drinking again. And it's
So this is a vicious cycle. You were trying to recover from drinking by taking.
yeah, I would endure the back pain later on that day.
So you're taking opiates to deal with the
For
alcohol and. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather be in pain all afternoon than have a hangover in the morning.
Oh wow.
So,
okay. So that was the start of a really bad cycle.
Yeah, and then on the weekends I would smoke cocaine. I would go go buy an 8-ball and
So this started pretty soon after you got out of school.
yeah.
So you're having some success, you're making some money, but that money is starting to go to not so good things.
Yeah, and I was just like any free time I had, I just pissed it away being loaded.
Yeah.
We always in Russia we had a volleyball game for the cast and crew and stuff every Saturday, and I went to like 3 of them because I was a mess from the night before. Yeah, I'm in bed. I mean, if I'm up, I'm certainly not playing volleyball.
Right.
Because I got to where I would drink. The bottles there are half liter vodka, and they have like this foil thing that you kind of pull and it just kind of rips it apart and comes, there's no way to reseal them. Mm-hmm. It's disposable. It's a half a liter is not to be saved. and I got to where that's what I was doing. I'd wake up with one of those. I'd take a big drink of juice, then chug the whole half liter, and then throw the rest of that juice on top of it, all in one breath. And then I just sit there and wait for that burn and be like, okay, I'm ready.
You're killing me right now.
Let's go to work.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when we come back, I want to get into the part where you end up under the 405 freeway in our next episode.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
We'll be back with Chris Browning. If you're enjoying the Brain Warriors Way podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, feel free to give us a review or 5-star rating, as that helps others find the podcast.
If you're considering coming to Amen Clinics or trying some of the brain healthy supplements from BrainMD, you can use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or a 10% discount on all supplements at brainmdhealth.com. For more information, give us a call at 855-978-1363.